Okay, looks like we are ready to start. All right. I hope you guys are here and ready to have a great time. I plan on doing nothing but having an amazing time today and having fun. All right. So with that, I want you guys to sit down, buckle in, and get ready because we're going to be talking all about how to supercharge your IRA, 401k, savings account. It doesn't really matter because we're going to take whatever you're working with to the next level with my Turnkey Systems. And I promise you guys are going to be impressed with this. It's going to be pretty awesome. So with that, I want to go ahead and start now. Let's talk about our legal disclaimer. Let's get that stuff out of the way, right? There's always got to be something about the lawyers that are telling us to say and this and that. So with the legal disclaimer, I want you to understand that this is an investment, which means as an investment, you could lose some, part, all of it. You could have the house burned down tomorrow and you'd have nothing except insurance money to reclaim. So there's always something that could go wrong, and I want you to be aware of that. The second thing is I don't promise or guarantee any returns, all right? That's not exactly true when we talk about the investment fund that we have, but when we're talking about the auctions, when we're talking about anything else, really, there's no guarantees, there's no promises. I don't know, something really bad could happen. And sometimes it does. So I just want you to be aware of that, but understand that what I am going to be talking about is all of the experience that we do have, all of the deals that we've done, from the 11,000 deals to the $250 million in profit. So with that, make sure that you're ready to have fun. And with that, let's go ahead and go, right? All right, so what are our options? We've got different turnkey investing options that I've kind of come up with and created from different partners and operators and things that I work with and that we've built this whole brand around. We've got auctions in Arizona. We've got trust deed investing, joint venturing, investment funds like I was talking about, cash flow investments in multiple different states, from Kansas to Atlanta to Texas to Phoenix to California, all over the place. We've got opportunities. But what we're going to be talking about today is going to be all about the auctions. Now, before I go ahead and move forward, I wanted to show you the ARV lending that I put at the bottom. The reason I put that on there is because if you're an investor, whether you want to borrow money from us or lend it through us, really, we've created a hub to allow that to happen. And so with the trust deed investing, that's kind of what the ARV lending is. It's going through, you're going to be able to loan out, but we're not going to be talking about that. See, I get so sidetracked. Let's stay on point because, again, I want to make sure that we're under the hour mark. So we're going to be talking all about auctions in Arizona, and this honestly is one of my favorite things to talk about. It's one of the things that I've known these guys for a really, really long time. But not only that, the returns and the results are so consistent that it's really what led me to believe or to put together the entire Turnkey System. Because before this, I could never rely on anybody. People constantly, they would tell you one thing and then something else happens, right? I wanted to be able to really bank on somebody doing something the right way. And the only way I could find that through all the years of me doing this, 10 plus years, was through consistency. And consistency to me is number of deals, right? If you've done 5 deals or 10 deals, hey, that's great. I'm happy for you. But in no way does that mean you're an expert and you know what you're doing. However, 11,000 deals later, yeah, you probably know what's going on and what to look out for. So we're going to be working with them, and that's what this whole presentation is really going to be on. To outline the webinar and what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about the motivation, why we're doing this in the first place, the team, who we can help, the anatomy of a deal, the ultimate system, and then how to get involved with the turnkey investor. So if you are ready, let's go ahead and get this party started. Let's talk about our motivation. What does that really mean? Well, why are we doing this? I've had people ask me over and over again, why are you doing this? If you've got money, if you've got $8 to $10 million that you're lending out and doing hard money loans with in Phoenix, why don't you just take all the deals down yourself? And the reason is because we can't. There's more deals than $8 million. If we can leverage, if we can bring more money in, we can actually do more deals. So that's one of the motivations. We want to do more real estate. The second thing is all of us have families. And for me, I want to build a legacy. I want to build something huge. And in order to do that, typically you've got to bring other people in. So for me, the best way to help other people and to help my family is to help everybody at the same time, right? Or to help my family is to help other people, because my kids are going to witness what's happening. They're going to watch what's happening. They're going to see how we give and what we do. And my goal is for them to copy and to follow in my footsteps. So while we're going to be doing this webinar today, I don't want to go through all of our backgrounds because, man, that can take up a ton of time. But what you can do is while I'm speaking, all you got to do is Google our names. So there's the spellings right there. Pete Asmus, Jacob Ash, Spencer Caldwell, Investor Quarterly, the Turnkey Investor, Buy Low Arizona, and Gentry Real Estate Group. Investor Quarterly is one of the magazines that I have, but the whole idea is look up everything about us. Know who we are while you're listening to me speak about this whole system. So let's talk about who are we? Well, we're the #1 auction buyer in Arizona. Now, that's significant because we've done over 11,000 deals. Over 1,500 doors are under property management. Think about that. 1,500 doors we've got under property management through buying through investors just like you that have come through. They've bought the properties and then they put them right under us, and we're now managing those properties. We've purchased over $1.75 billion and sold over $2.8 billion. All right. That's pretty huge. And $250 million in profit. Here's another thing. We literally buy somewhere between 5 to 8 properties a day at the auction. Last month we did, seriously, every month we range anywhere from 70 to 80 deals and anywhere from $7 to $9 million in purchases or in acquisitions. So when you say, well, why don't you just use your $8 million? That's why. It'd be gone in 1 month. So we need to have people coming in. Now, we've got about, 2,000 investors probably in Arizona. The reason I'm coming in is because we want to grow that. We want to grow it outside of Arizona so that we've got people from all over that are able to come in and capture the ROI that we've got going on in the Arizona market. So who can we help? Well, it's pretty easy. We're going to be able to help anybody with that's got over $60,000 to $70,000. Now, here's how that really breaks down. We do lending, all right? We do hard money lending on the properties that we find and pinpoint. Now, the lending that we do is 80% of the purchase price, okay? So that means you only have to come in with 20% and then whatever the rehab may be. Now, the typical deal in Arizona is going to be between $150,000 and $250,000. That's kind of the sweet spot where we're really able to capture the most ROI, okay? So when you look at that, if we're doing 20% of that, you're at $40,000. Then if we take and go, look, the average rehab that we do is going to be anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. However, certain projects we will go up to $30,000. So I want to go ahead and put the higher mark up there because if we come in under that, obviously you're going to be excited. But the reality is we've got what? We've got $40,000 for the purchase, right? And then $30,000 for the rehab. You're looking at $70,000. And you come in with that and you're looking at maybe $10,000 to $15,000 back on that money, all right? And that's going to be after we do all the splits and everything else. And I'll get into that in a second. But if you have under $60,000, it does not mean that you're just pushed out because that's not the case. If you've got under 60, all you've got to do is 1, find a partner, or 2, we could put you together in a deal and crowdfund it. We have the ability to put 25 different people into a deal. And I would never do that because that would just be an insane amount of work, but I would definitely do 2 to 3 people. We can partner up and position in a deal so that everybody they get to win, right? That's the whole idea of it. So if we look at that, what would you do if you've got under 60? Well, it's easy. Go to jvturnkeyrealestate.com. That's right there, jvturnkeyrealestate.com. Fill out the info, and then I'll get back to you. Tell me what you've got to work with and what you want to accomplish, and then let's go make that happen, all right? But let's say you're in the upper lot. Let's say you've got the $70,000 or the $60,000, and you're ready to go. Well, then there's 2 different ways that we're going to be able to work with you and help you. The first way is going to be through turning your money 2 to 3 times in a year, all right? So you're going to bring whatever source of income or the investment you have. We're going to take it on. 4 months later, we're going to flip it, do it again, and then 4 months later, do it again. Now we're at the 12-month mark. For instance, a while ago, Tammy did a deal, opened it in June, and then September, it closed. Again, it's that 4-month window that we seem to always be tapping into. And then the other thing is I always know that when investors come and they start making money, right? The reality is I know people around you have money too, and they're going to be watching what's happening. What are you doing? And as that occurs, I want you to feel comfortable sharing the information with us. So in order to make sure that that does happen, and in order to help you help us, I give 5% of the profit to whoever refers me the investor. And what that really means is this. If you refer me somebody, all right, your friend is going to come, your referral is going to come, they do a deal, at the end they get their 50%, we get our 50%, they weren't affected at all right, if they found me on their own. If you refer them to me, they're going to get their 50%, I'm going to get 45%, and you're going to get 5%. And that's going to be forever. As long as they're buying from us, you're going to be able to get that, because I want to ensure that I'm helping everybody. Nobody has to be greedy. We don't have to take from everybody, right? I want to help everybody get where they want to go. That is part of my mission. So, yeah, so that's that. And then let's see. So what resources can we use? Let's talk about that. Well, 401k, IRA, we already said that. Obviously, a 1031 exchange will work, right? And then we've got the savings accounts. Because when you're talking about a savings account, when you're talking about any kind of money, it's all relevant. It all is going to be able to be utilized. Not only that, but check this out. We can even use credit cards. Now, I think that's entirely sexy. I had somebody out on one of my buying tours, and they had just done a flip using $70,000 in 0% credit cards. That is huge. They basically leveraged the entire deal on 0% credit cards and then flipped it. And I mean, it cost them like nothing to do, right? I mean, obviously not literally nothing, because they had, I think it was 5 months of payments. But on that money at 0%, it really was, it was a very, very minimal payment, not very much at all. And you're talking about 3, 4, 5 months in total. Now, let's say you don't have an 850 score like they did, or an 800 score to be able to do that. I want to share this with you because I use them, c2ccredit.com. I went there, I used DCR. They literally jumped us 100 points in I think it was 2.5 months. And it's insane. My wife's now a 760. I mean, it's just crazy by doing the right thing. So if you guys don't have the score that you want, definitely go check out C2C Credit and get your credit improved now, because I promise you, access to money is where it's at. If you can get a loan for 3% versus 7%, it allows you to do more, right? You can accomplish more. You can create more. So make sure that you're getting as much out of your money as possible. And the only way you can do that is by having the best credit that you can. So let's get into a deal, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are going, okay, well, this is great, but let's talk about a deal. What does a deal look like? What are you even doing out there? So this is what we're doing, all right? The properties in Arizona are going to be really, really typical, okay? Here is the outside of one. This is a real deal that we did this year, and this is the after effect, right, the final. Ghost Ranch in Casa Grande. And here is the case study on the product, or on the property, all right? 1998. Now that's big. I want you to really pay attention to the fact that everything that we're buying is all newer. It's all like less than 20 years old, which is important because the rehabs are so minimal on those, right? You're not changing out plumbing and wiring. You don't have tube and knob. You don't have any of that stuff. You don't have a worry that you have from a 1920s house, okay? So it allows us to move faster, right? Now, the other thing is, it's all very typical too. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? 1,300 square feet. It's not huge. So then let's come to the numbers, right? I'm sure some of you guys want to see that. So the purchase price was $87,100. The rehab into the property was $47,371. We purchased at the trust deed on 10/15/2014, and it sold on 1/15/2015. I know when it sold, but total expenses were $129,000. Sales price was $166,000. Well, this is kind of complicated to look at. Let's go ahead and look at something a lot cooler, all right? This is the sheet that I've printed out to show you guys exactly how this all works, okay? And I really like this because we're going to be able to look at what a traditional IRA or 401k would have to do real estate, and then what you can do because we have non-recourse loans. So right up here at the top, you're going to see property information, right? Here's the Ghost Ranch, Casa Grande, all the information that we already talked about, the bedrooms, the baths, the square footage. But here's where it starts getting cool. So purchase date and sold date, purchased on 10/15, sold on 1/8. Estimated days on market, I said was 4 months, so 120 days. Actual days, 85. Now that's pretty awesome, right? Coming in at 71% of what we anticipated, which we always want to be lower here. Secondly, estimated ARV. We said 170. Actual price, right? I feel like I'm on Price is Right. 166. Okay, so now we're at 98%. This one we want to be higher, but 98% not bad for where are we aiming and hitting with our ARVs. Estimated repairs 45,000, actuals 43, 371, 96%. Again, I mean, this really is what you want to be seeing when you're investing in real estate. Okay, so let's look at the all cash scenario. If you had a 401k or an IRA before, what would it look like if you were to buy this all cash? Well, you're going to have 166,000 is the sold price. So acquisition price is 78.7. You've got our bid fee of $3,000, and I'll explain that in a little bit. The rehab cost of 43.3. Your investor out of pocket is 125.71. Now you also have selling costs, but those are going to come out of escrow, so they're really not out of your pocket, right? They're out of the profit, but they're not out of your pocket. That leaves the gross profit at 29.3, which then takes us to the investor's net profit of 14.6. Okay, so what does that really mean? Well, their return on the investment was 11%, which, man, that's not bad for 4 months. Because if you did this 3 more times, you would be at 35.2, 35% annualized. That's great. Now, you've also you're not leveraged at all. The other thing was this was done in 3 months. So you literally could do this 4 times, not 3, right? So you could add you could be at 46% on this deal. But here's where it gets really cool. So then we go over to the leverage scenario, all right? 78,000 is still the purchase price, but we're going to cover 62,960, which means all the investor has to come out of pocket is 15,007, all right? $3,000 bid fee. You've got 43 for the rehab again, which again you have to cover. $900 for the doc fee for the loan, for the rehab loan, and then $2,600 for the actual payments in the interest payments, right? And the loan, I'll explain that later too. It's $900 and then it's 17.9%. Some of you may be going, oh my gosh, that interest rate is high. Again, hear me. It is simple interest and there are 0 points. You're not paying 1, 2, 3, 4 points for this. You're paying $900. So if you only hold it for a month, that's all you pay. If some of you are going, well, man, that's still high. I don't need it. Great. Utilize it to buy the deal, then get your own financing and refi the thing in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever. But take action and make something happen. So let's look at this. Total investor out of pocket this time is $65,000 compared to $125,000. Half. You're literally at half of what the all cash scenario was. Now, you gave up half, or you didn't have to put out half of the cash. Does that mean that you lose half of the profit? Not at all. We come back here. Gross profit is now 25. We lost $4,000 basically in the, or not even that, right? Less than $4,000. So you're talking about 12,000 is yours. From 14.6 to 12.8, right? Almost 13. You basically lost $1,800 to only have to give up 65. So you saved $65,000 in your pocket and lost $1,800 in profit, right? Now, if we do this twice, because we could do 2 of these deals at the same time with the same amount of money, you'd literally, instead of being at 19% like you are right here, you'd be at 40% in 4 months. Or what? 80, 120 annualized? 120% annualized on your money. That's, I mean, man, I could stop right here because that to me is insane. I've just told you that we've done over 11,000 deals. We've created $250 million in profit. We are the largest buyer at auction in Arizona, and now I'm showing you the kind of deals we get. I mean, for me, this is it. Like this is crazy. Anyways, okay. So moving on, let's look at another deal. I wanted to get another deal in here that maybe didn't go quite as smooth, right, as that first one. So this one has different numbers, a little lower numbers. Again, you've got the information for the property. Your purchase date was 3/8. Sold date was 7/8. All right. 120 days that we expected to be on. It was on 122, so we were a little over. 270 is what we thought. 159 was what it was. So 96%, a little under. And then again, we went a little over on the estimated repairs. This is literally exactly what you don't want to see, right? over on the days on market, over on the repairs, under on the ARV. But let's look at what all these mistakes ended up looking like. Well, if we did all cash, acquisition price was $170. You'd be paying $170 plus your $3,000 plus your $30,000. Your miscellaneous cost of $1,500 on this one. I mean, it could have been anything from utilities, whatever. So total out of pocket was $204. Selling commission or all that stuff, $20,000, doesn't matter. Gross profit, $34,300. Okay, which means you put $17,000 in your pocket, which is an 8.4% return in 4 months, not 3 months, 4 months. So is that great? Again, I know a lot of people getting 2% annualized. This is 8% in 4 months. And again, you do this 3 times, you're at 25%, which all day long is an awesome return for an IRA or a 401k. It's all retirement money. You want it all going back in there. But because we can leverage this, if we do that, you're talking about, and you know these numbers again, $76,000 though out of pocket instead of $204. Significantly less than half. You're going to drop $5,000 of the profit. So you went from 34 to, $10,000. Woo, $10,000 out of profit. Okay. You went from 34 to 25 or 9,000. So what does that really translate? Well, you went from 17.1 to 12.5, right? So $3,500 you lost in profit, but you didn't have to put out $130,000 for that $3,500. Again, it's all about leverage, right? We could do 2, almost 3 of these deals actually with, and then we would end up with what, 16, 30, 40, 48% ROI in 4 months as opposed to 16. So it's all about positioning, right? It's all about understanding where you are and what you can do to really elevate that next level. So right here, we've got 16.4, right? 49% over 12 months. And then you might be asking, well, what do these properties really look like? Well, that's what they look like. You've got wood floors, huge tile. God, what are those called? Emblems, but they're not an emblem. It's anyways, God, I'm going to remember this later. I can't even believe I just dropped out of my head. Fully tiled shower, right? I mean, this stuff is awesome. The rehabs that we're doing out there are insane. And the fact that we're doing non-recourse loans, right? For your IRA, Roths, or 401ks. I don't know anybody that's able to do a 401k non-recourse loan in 24 hours. I'm not saying that there isn't anybody out there that does it. I'm just saying I haven't found anybody that actually does that. All right. So let's talk about what those hard money lenders look like, right? Hard money lenders, they're going to require 20 to 30% down. It's a 17.9% interest rate annualized. The loan term is 6 months. If you happen to go longer than 6 months, we just refi the loan, right? We've got other people that want to lend on the money, so that's not a problem. There's no points, or their only origination fee is an $800, $900 origination fee. There's no credit, no proof of income. We're the lenders. So the reality is we can say, yes, we can fund these deals in 24 hours. We can do it, and we can do the non-recourse lending, which again, I think is huge because it allows you to take your IRA or your 401k to the next level, right? So let's talk about what are some of the top strategies that we use for finding properties, right? Are they all the auction? Well, no. We use wholesalers, right? We have 3 lists that go out every day. The night before, well, they're every day because 1 goes out at night and 2 go out in the morning. But here's how it works. The night before, we send you out the auction list, and it'll have every single thing that's going to auction or supposedly going to auction, okay? The next morning, we're going to do a pick list, which is basically everything that we think is going to auction. We're going to drive those properties. We're going to take pictures. We're going to do analysis. And that is what that $3,000 bid fee is for. It's for all of the due diligence getting ready for you to be able to make a decision on these properties, okay? And then the other list that we're going to send out is a wholesale list. And here, I'll explain that right here. As far as group marketing goes, a great group marketing group that we're part of is in Homevestors. Jacob is a Homevestor franchisee. Now, what that means is he shares in an ad budget in Arizona, and all of the leads that come into Homevestors get disseminated, right, between the different franchisees. Jacob is one of them. There's a ton more out there though. And what those guys all do is that when they get properties, anything that they don't take down, they shoot up to us, right? Again, we also have 25 other real wholesalers, that all they're doing is going out and looking for properties. And that is a wholesale list that we send out every morning as well. So there's 3 lists, 1 the night before and 2 in the morning, all right? Obviously, we do probate, short sales, but honestly, the number one way that we find properties is the auction. 85 to 90% of what we buy at the auction, and we literally buy at the auction every day. So let's talk about what this system actually is. It's the ultimate turnkey system, right? So what is my ultimate system and how does it work? Well, the F3 system is find, fix, and flip. But not only that, it has another component that I haven't seen anybody else do. We're going to do 3 flips per year, averaging $1,000 per flip. And on the 4th property, we're going to do a buy and hold. All right. And if we do 100K all in, then you're talking about 20 to 30K down, and you're talking about 5 to 6% annualized for 30 years. That's awesome. I mean, point blank, that is an awesome deal. So this is kind of how it rolls out, right? At the end of the year, not only do you have more money in your pocket, but you also have a cash flow property. Because at the end of the day, that's what we need. It's about doubling your money in 4 years while building a cash flow portfolio. That's what we want to do for you. And if you have an IRA or a 401k, all this stuff just gets keep putting back in there, and you're avoiding taxes and everything else along the way, right? So you're getting to keep more of that money that you're earning. So let's talk real quick, because I know some of you guys have questions, and I've already seen some of them, about what the system actually looks like, right? How does it work? Okay, I'm ready. Now what? And so I want to talk to you about the now what part. If you've been watching and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go, I want to know what to do next, the next step would be going to bookpete.com and setting up an appointment. And this is where that comes in, right here. Our consultation, all right? So in the consultation, we're going to meet, and I'm going to talk to you about what do you have to work with? How much do you have? What kind of expectations do you have? Because part of my job is setting the right expectations. If you're going to expect to make 30% of on your money, you're going to bring in 100, you're going to make 30 grand in 2 months, it's the wrong expectations. You're going to be mad. We're going to be upset because you're mad, right? I mean, it's just nobody's going to be happy about any of it. So I want to make sure that I set the right expectations so that you understand what to expect, what's going to happen, what the order is, and how all of it's going to work so that we get to work together for a long, long time. I don't want to have to keep finding new investors. I want to just get really good ones and stick with me, and we just kind of take over the world, all right? So once we've figured out that consultation piece, then I'm going to figure out, do you go with Jacob or do you go to Spencer? Because one of them deals with Maricopa County, one of them deals with Pinal and Pima County, and different counties have kind of different results. So once we figure that out, I put you together with them. Now they're going to start sending you lists, but here's the kicker. With everybody else in our system, all right, when we send out that list, they all have to bid on the properties in an internal auction. So the list goes out, say, you know, person number 1 writes us and goes, hey, we'll do 100,000. Number 2 goes, oh, we'll do 105. So we go number 1, hey, you know, he's going to do 105. Did you want to do any more? Again, we don't care. We just want to know where your limit is. And so back and forth, finally, one person says, yeah, that's what I want. And the other, you know, nobody else will go that high. Now we're going to go to bat for that individual, for that investor. So now when we say he said he went up to 130,000. But now when we go to the auction, all right, say it's starting at 96,000 and we get it for 97, he doesn't buy it for 130. He buys it for 97 plus the $3,000 bid fee. And that all came about because when Jacob and Spencer got into the auction business, they were being told, well, what will you go for on the property, right? That internal bidding. And they go, oh, 130,000. Then the auction company would win the bid for 97, but sell it to them for 130. And when they found that out, they stopped using the auction company and started their own company to do it right, to do it ethically. And that's really what this is all about. It's all about creating systems that other people can tap into, that everybody gets to make money. It's not about being greedy. It's about being giving. It's about being generous. It's about creating opportunities for everybody around us. So once we do that, we win the bid. All right. We now have 24 hours, or you have 24 hours to pay it in full. If you're going to use our lending, we're going to hook you up. And by 5 that night, you'll have all the information. You sign it, boom, kick it back. and then we fund the next day. Not a big deal. You're going to wire the balance of the purchase to us the next day as well. Okay. The rehab and all that money, you don't have to disperse that yet until the project manager lets you know. We have a couple different project managers, and again, they each have their strengths as well, and we will partner you with whatever deal makes sense for that project manager so that we get you the best possible results the first time. Okay. So once it goes through that, you win it, we pay for it, the bidding happens, and boom, we're on to rehab now. So what does rehab look like? Well, we're going to take care of the project management, scheduling, contractors, and quality control. You are going to take care of 3 things. If you pay cash, you're not going to take care of anything else. You're pretty much done at this point. But most people are going to leverage, and when you leverage, you're going to have 3 things. You're going to have a monthly hard money payment. You're going to have to get insurance on the property immediately because the property is in your name because of the funding factor. You're going to need to get that, and then you're also going to need to turn on the utilities. And we'll give you all the information that you need, but I just want you to understand that that needs to be done immediately. All right, and then we're going to take off and make it all happen. We'll put a draw schedule together, show you everything that's going to be done. You pay the draw schedule, da 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 da. It all happens. Boom. At the end, we sell the property. All right. And when that happens, we take care of everything again, okay? Once the property's sold, now we're going to go through and we're going to reconcile everything. So any money that you paid to utilities or to this or to that, that's all going to be removed out of the profit too. Hard money loans, removed out of the profit. Everything is removed out of the profit, and then we split it 50-50. And that, again, is not something I've seen other people do. They say, well, you're going to bring the money to the table. I don't care if you get a hard money loan. You deal with it. You pay for it. That's your thing. We're going to just take half the profit. I want this to be even all the way down the board. I want us to work together. And the only way that's going to happen is if we feel the same pain you do, right? And so that's why I want to do the split instead of charging an upfront fee for every deal and that kind of thing. I don't want to do that. Because if the deal goes south, right, you just paid for this premium fee for this property, the deal went south, and now what? Now you got really burned. And for me, that's not okay. I want to make sure that if you get burned, we get burned. If you do well, we do well. Everybody works together. We are in this together. And that is the key to this entire system. All right. So why Arizona? Well, I thought it was pretty clear, right? We do 24-hour pay in fulls. There's only $10,000 due at the purchase. Now, for instance, in California, if we buy at the auction, 100% of the purchase price is due right then and there. Boom, hammer goes down, pay the man, all of it. In Arizona, it's only $10,000. It's a lot easier to swallow to be able to get the money together and everything else. So that's one. Number 2, we're only working on cosmetic fixes. We're not doing huge, giant remodels. Now, does that mean that we won't do something if it'll bring us in more money? Absolutely, we will, okay? We added a pool to a house for $18,000 because it generated us another $10,000 in profit. So those kind of things make sense. But I'm certainly not going to put $18,000 into a property if it's not even going to get me $18,000 back out of it, right? We want to make sure that whatever we're doing is getting us the highest dollar amount because, again, we're splitting the profit. So the higher the profit, the higher we get, the more money we get to take home, just like you. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? An investor cares about 2 things. How much am I going to make, and when am I going to make it?